Hello, everyone. This is Dan Hendy here. I'm from Pennsylvania Rec and Park Society, and I'm welcoming you to our Urban Roundtable. It's nice to see everyone. I'm going to rename myself from PRPS Training so everybody knows who I am. And Nikki is here with me to help me run this roundtable. And hi, Heather. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you.
All right. As you know, and Kathleen, how are you? I see you're still eating lunch. That's okay.
Finishing up.
Sorry to embarrass you on that. We all do what we can when we can, right? Jeff, I like the, what is that, a tiger? What do they call those? A tiger plane? What is that? It was like from World War II, right? Oh, Jeff, you got to unmute yourself. Bottom right. There you go. Nope, you didn't get it, Jeff. Okay, while Jeff's trying to unmute himself, I'm going to give everybody basic instructions. You will come into the meeting muted. That's just the way we have it set up. When you do want to talk, which we will highly encourage, please just go to the microphone icon on the bottom left and you can click on it and unmute yourself. Likewise, you can also show your own video that many brave souls are already doing. So thank you. Having faces sometimes makes the conversation go easier. One of the other things that we like to do before we get started, ask everyone to enter their email address into the chat box. The chat box is on the bottom bar again. It's a little cartoon sign there for chat. And just please, thank you, Sanders, Kay Sanders, just entered theirs. Yes, everybody just enter in the chat box and then we'll use those email addresses that you entered to send out the text from the chat box to everyone so you can keep track of ongoing discussions. Also, if you have links or documents that you'd like to share with the rest of the group, you can enter the links and addresses to those documents in the chat box and everyone will be able to click on them when they get to chat box, either immediately or when they get to chat box and it'll take them to those sites. So let's utilize that chat box and make sure that we can share as much information as we can with each other because that's what these roundtables are all about. All right. I see we have about 21 people on and we're growing. That's great. This is the Urban Recreation Roundtable. And the last time we had some great discussions about identifying some of the issues that we were all particularly people who have parks that are in this urban variety, all the issues that we were going through and sharing some results. I'm happy to say that for this roundtable, we seem to be getting more and more direction. There'll be a meeting. The governor's office will be coming on at 2 p.m. today to offer some clarification on various, let me see, I have to check my notes here. He'll be coming on this afternoon about pools, and opening pools will be part of the discussion. We also have word that over the weekend or possibly on Monday, the National Park and Rec Association will be releasing a framework for recovery. So that'll be for all park and rec departments. So you might, if you are a member of NRPA, you might want to tune into their website and see what they're offering. Tim, because of his position as the director of a state program, got a first peek at it early today, I think, and he said it's a very good document. So keep your eyes out for that one. I want to make sure that I shared that with everyone. So that's about all the news I have. As you know, some regulations for, I've been doing a lot of reading these past couple of days, as I'm sure you all have. There's interim guidance for child care programs has been put out, and several articles by the CDC on playgrounds and such. So it's nice to see that's more information that's coming out about suggested protocols for our departments. And I want to make sure that everybody was aware of that. When was the NRPA? That should be coming out either this week, either later today, this weekend, or by Monday. Again, Tim got a sneak peek at it because of his position, but that will be coming out very shortly. And he said it was a very substantial document. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that like everyone else. Okay. I have some questions. Should I, to sort of gauge the feeling of the group here, if anybody, if you don't mind, I'll start off with a question or two. And this one's a big one, I guess, but I always like to start big, I guess. But maybe people could share what your biggest challenge has been for you so far in relation to your department or your position or what your city is going through. Can people speak to that? What your biggest challenge is so far?
I can tell you, I ordered sanitizer totally by accident before this whole thing started from our company that we deal with for cleaning supplies. Not a small company, not a huge company. Pennsylvania Paper and Supply Company, they're called. They're out of Scranton. I ordered it. The order said on March 11th. They delivered it yesterday afternoon. That's the first time they've gotten any.
Wow. But you did get some. That's
I did
great.
get some. I got 2 cases, but I ordered it on March 11th.
Yeah.
I just got off the phone before you with the director of our local JCC. He said he went to order thermal scan thermometers for people's foreheads. Says between now and October, he could get them. So those could be some challenges.
Yeah, and I also took a look at the recommendations from the CDC on daycares and what you protocol for students coming into the classroom, and they all suggest taking their temperature. The problem is if you don't have one of those thermal scan thermometers that don't touch, you have to change your gloves every time that you take a temperature, and clean the thermometer. So if you can get your hands on one of those thermal thermometers that don't touch skin or don't require touching the skin to get a reading, that's the way to go. That is the way to go. Now, how long those procedures will be in place, we don't know, but those are the CDC recommendations. So good point, Greg, thanks. Anyone else? What's one of your biggest challenges?
This is Heather from Lancaster Rec. I think our biggest challenge has just been the uncertainty of it all. We're really thankful PRPS is having these webinars for us to be able to share and hear what other agencies are doing, because we've reached out to our city and our school district and continued to just ask questions of what are your expectations for our type of programs over the summer, and they just kind of keep telling us to wait and see. So I think the biggest challenge for us has been patience and just trying to get an idea of what we're supposed to be providing. And then I think in the meantime for that, trying to figure out the financial piece of all this, of understanding what the impacts are currently, because we can't run programming, but then what the long-term impacts we'll see of, the different types of funding sources that we have. For a lot of the agencies that fund us, their new year starts July 1st. So it's just kind of, we're anticipating and kind of waiting with bated breath of what will happen to those funding streams after July 1st. How will that impact the rest of our year?
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Heather. How many are in a similar situation to Heather? Is funding one of your major concerns? Now, Greg, I know it is for you. I remember our discussion yesterday. Your agency is similar to, I think, what Heather has. Any other large concerns for folks?
Hi, everybody. It's Megan from Percy. I'm just having, I'm getting a lot of direction that I need to be more creative. And I think with everything going on, it's like, you know, which website to send people to or things like that. So, you know, definitely trying to be creative and encourage people safely to recreate has been a challenge for myself. I'm very lucky to have some great peers in my network to share some ideas, but personally, I'm getting a little tired of the screen, and I feel that some families are probably in the same situation with schools and, you know, everybody in general. And I know people are trying to do what they can, but finding something to be creative. You know, we've done the scavenger hunt to death, I think, and it's just a challenge for me to see what is going to be in the future. So hopefully we'll have good information from the governor at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. We are hoping. I mean, they did put out that the stoplight plan, as I'm calling it, and we'll see how well that works. I mean, it makes sense to me on paper, but the devil is in the details, I think, with that one, because there's still a lot of ambiguity in it. But we'll see how that plays out. All right, so challenges are programming, funding, supplies. Any other challenges to go with them? Okay, another question I wanted to take a sort of poll about, and you can answer in the chat or vocally, is has your agency been involved with other activities or efforts during these past couple of months to sort of shore up or help out the rest of your department, you know, the other departments or things like that? Where have you found that you guys have been utilized?
Hi, Nancy from Northampton Township. How's everybody doing?
Hi, Nancy.
This has given us an opportunity to really pool our resources with the library and the senior center. We've had a challenge over the years, and a lot of departments have challenges with libraries doing the same thing we do. We're offering things for free. So it appears, you know, we're all on the same level right now, you know, doing the virtual classes, and we've had some great progress. But as far as addressing COVID-19 and emergency services, no, our departments have not been pulled into any of that. But this has given us the opportunity to open communication. We actually had a meeting, a Zoom meeting, with, I couldn't believe how many librarians there were at the library. They were all on screen, you know, so we got to meet them, and I think it really, so silver lining to all this, I think moving forward, it's going to be a better relationship with those departments.
Great. Jeff Larson says on the chat that they offer childcare to city employees. That's a nice touch there. Childcare is allowed as long as it's an essential employee right now, I think. Heather, is there anything that your group has been doing?
We've been coordinating with our local Office of Aging to do check-ins with seniors that participate in our senior center and do weekly meal distribution to those seniors. And then we've also been working with different agencies in the city to try and provide some activities for kids virtually. Kind of like Megan said, it's tough because you know, you start to run out of ideas a little bit, but we have been doing online yoga, actually for kids and for seniors as well too. We do a seated chair yoga for seniors also.
That's great. I think the last roundtable that we had, I forget who's his name now. Nikki may remember, but he did laughter yoga, and he had his own website, and you can go there and participate in laughter yoga. That was pretty fun.
I can't remember his name, but if anyone is interested, I do have his name and email address. He's from Philadelphia, and I do have his information I think he participated on 2 or 3 of the other roundtables. Yes, I think Bill is correct.
It is Bill Powell.
It's
Yes,
Bill Powell.
If
Yeah.
anyone else wants his email address, just let us know and I can look that up quickly and send that in the chat.
Yeah. Allentown says nothing has occurred. Actually, voluntary and involuntary layoffs have occurred in the recreation and other city departments. You have a little reaction button on the bottom right of your screen, and you can raise a hand or a thumbs up, but I would want to try that. Would you raise your hand if your department is not operating at full capacity, or you've had layoffs or furloughs? There you go. Yep. I see several. I'm a department of one, so that's I remember those days also. Many of us started as a department of one. Full capacity here from Jeff Larson. Furloughs are happening from Chris Olimpo. Norristown has only 2 employees, and furloughs happening probably will extend. All right, related questioning. A related question is, right now it's May 1st. We've been pretty much effectively operating on the social distancing order since about mid-March, I believe. We don't know, we do finally have some type of plan to come out of it, but we're wondering, what are your plans? Or how many of you are still planning to offer a summer camp program? And people want to speak about how they've altered that?
We have a very large summer camp program. Most of our registrations were taken back in December. Believe it or not, we have probably seen about 600 in our registrations right now. We are very close to telling everybody that will be offering something, but we will be canceling every program we have now as it's planned, giving them the opportunity to then re-register for our limited programs. What they are right now, we are thinking maybe more of a daycare situation, because we think that's where the need's going to be, because we have probably close to 400 people in the program that is a, say, 9 to 5 or actually 7:30 to 6, so hours that would accompany their work hours. So we're looking more of, hey, this is what we can do, we think we can do to provide you with daycare. What those numbers are going to be, again, depends on, what phase we're in. If we're going to start July 11th or 15th or the 22nd, or, it's just, we just don't know, but we are planning to do something.
Will it be indoor or outdoor, or?
Well, we're fortunate we do have a facility, so we're taking measurements right now and trying to figure out how many people we could hold in that facility. We are looking at some disinfection equipment, UV, where you put in a classroom. It takes about 20-30 minutes to disinfect a classroom of, say, I forget what the 800 square feet, 22 by 30 by 9, so it'll take about 20 minutes. I was on a webinar yesterday about it, 20 to 30 minutes. So we're looking at that. Some programs may be outside, but then, we need some type of facility, restroom facility. And what if we do with rain? So there's a lot of different ideas going around, but we can't really say for sure what we're doing until we know more of where we're going to be come July 1st, like everybody else. But one thing this has done, we are, I hate to say it, but go for our child care certification, because that would have probably given us a little bit more leeway now. But moving forward in September, when we do offer our preschool programs, we probably won't be. So this will give us some time to go through that certification program. However, the DHS does not have any any opening dates, any training dates posted. The last dates were 2019. So are they going to be having those classes? Maybe virtually, but that's where we are.
before I was here with PRPS, I was a principal at a private school, and we had a daycare program. We had to go through the DHS licensing, and it's a process, but you can get through it. It's more about having the right people with the right certifications to be there than anything else. Some room requirements too, but really it was about having the right staffing going through. Your comment about employees remind me that I have another update to share. We all know that Act 47 and Act 87 will have some effect on our summer hiring. We just learned that there's a new House Bill 360 that's going through right now that has an amendment on it, which allows extra time for people who are seeking recertification or initial certification to begin their positions without the FBI clearance in place. Okay, so the other clearances have to be there. The state and the state police and the child line, but you will have extra time till the end of the year for the FBI clearance for a recert, and with the initial certification, you can start staff as long as they sign that other piece of paperwork that says, you know, they've been there for they've lived in the same area or the same state for 10 years and they have their other clearances. So that's a piece of good news going forward, that we think this piece of legislation will be passed, and we should have more to report on that at the webinar on Tuesday. So that's pretty good news. Let's see, from the Comic Box comment. I heard today that a municipality in Cumberland County canceled summer camp and will not open their pool. They serve a population of 25,000. Allentown is in Governor Wolf's red zone. Don't see us getting to yellow for a while, let alone green. I do not envision a summer playground program happening in Allentown this summer. The uncertainty to everything is just too much, and there's agreement on the uncertainty. Trying to plan for 1,000 scenarios is exhausting and no one knows. For all, when you operate as childcare and reopen in the yellow zone, or will you operate as recreation and school and not plan to open until we are in green? Heather, you're speaking to a division within the guidelines of how you name yourself, is that correct?
Right, so we just learned we hold our summer camps in the school district, and we just were told from the school district we won't be able to access any of their buildings over the summer. So our childcare facility for early childhood and our 2 summer camps, which serve around 500 kids, we won't be able to run those at all. So now we're left trying to figure out if we try and hold some type of camp, kind of like Nancy was speaking to. We don't know what we're going to do, but how do we refigure that? We do have a camp that is out at a barn. It's kind of like a nature camp. It's not a licensed camp, but it is a larger camp, but I don't know with the restrictions what we'd be able to serve. It's also the camp that's adjacent to our pool, and we don't know if we're going to open our pool this summer, so I'm looking forward to the governor's guidance today on that. But yeah, it just seems that for us it's kind of unclear, because those programs, especially summer camps, serve as childcare, but they're kind of under our umbrella of recreation. So I don't know what we would be considered, and if we should try and push for providing childcare summer camp, or if we should wait until we're in that green zone. I'm not sure what to do.
Is there any advice for Heather?
There's no advice right now. I just literally got off reading from WNEP Channel 16 ABC out of Wilkes-Barre what the governor said, and it's all mishmash still. Like he's not saying it. It's looking like recreation centers are going to be the end of June for the state of Pennsylvania. And if we don't have a rec center, I can't run a camp.
That's one of the issues we're looking at right now is we're looking at just closing everything down until July 1st to try and save money and not opening our pool because we're not sure when we can open anything or how we can open it.
Right.
And so the best option might just be to put a pause on everything and just save the resources we can right now.
And that's what I was trying to say to people. I'm like, our pool is $5,000 to open, $5,000 to close. If we don't open it, if he says no, then all of a sudden, we just spent $10,000 plus chemicals for the summer. For nothing.
I know part of the update today from Dr. Levine was supposed to clarify some of the yellow phase. But also the webinar that we're hosting next Friday with Richard Pugh, I think his last name is, with DOH. Those are some of the specific questions that we're hoping he can answer. We put them right at the top. We said we wanted to clarify what the yellow phase meant when it came to summer camps and youth programming, and if we would be allowed to have that in the yellow phase. We know the red phase is pretty much one of those issues where that will not be permitted. But we are hoping that that will be clarified. So if it's not clarified today, hopefully tomorrow, Tim, the CEO of PRPS, did write the op-ed to push for those types of things to be opened in the yellow phase. So we're hoping that did get to Dr. Levine, that did get to Governor Wolf, to kind of open their eyes to the essential that we provide, because we all know if parents are permitted to go back to work in that yellow phase, they're going to need childcare, and if certain ratios are lowered because of COVID and because, sorry, I see your cat in the background, because of COVID, we're going to need to be able to hold summer camps. We're going to need to be able to open certain facilities to be able to provide that childcare aspect. So we're hoping that that point gets across to our state government to make those decisions. So we're hoping that that push from PRPS, that push from, I know a lot of our other members has gotten to that level. So hopefully those questions will be answered within, if not today, within the next week.
Great.
Yeah,
Nikki, did you see the new, did any of you see what the governor just put out for counties that have to shelter in place still?
Today?
Yeah, today, just now.
I did not see it today.
No.
I've been on Zoom since.
Oh, okay. New York border to Harrisburg, all the way out to Pittsburgh. Anything that's populated pretty much is red, shelter in place.
For
Okay.
how long?
You didn't give a time.
So what you're saying is we're pretty much what part of the state isn't in the red zone, Greg?
All of northwestern Pennsylvania, it looks like, and north central. Can you guys see
There you
that
go.
little tiny map?
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
It is tricky because I saw something else posted from somewhere that was like a reopening plan, but it didn't say it was directly from the governor's office, but it started to put the dates that different agencies or different counties would be able to open. And it referenced Lancaster County being May 18th. So it's tough. There's some stuff going around that I don't know to trust
Right.
the validity of.
They did say yesterday during their press conference not to trust those, that if you're looking for a source to go right to the governor's office, that there were some other people who were sharing information about opening dates, and that the best source was to get it straight from the governor's office, because I think some people may be hopeful. I know I saw a local restaurant that said, we're opening on May 7th for something with Mother's Day, and I was like, wait, what? I'm going. And then it made you think that it was open, but they're like, takeout only in like size 6 font. And I was like, that's not open. I could get takeout from somewhere else right now. So I think part of that is making sure that you're really going to the source.
And again, the governor or his deputy are supposed to speak today at like 2 o'clock. So hopefully they'll make it as clear as mud and we can go on from there. Some other things about pools that came in through the chat box. Can't really comment on it or speak to it, but Philly's mayor announced that their 70 pools will not open this summer as cost-saving measure. Another Norristown pushed out start date to July 1. Harrisburg, governor's speech today shall shed some direction for us. We are looking bleak without the governor's guideline. We're looking at doing a food program and safety awareness program with our full-time staff. We are concerned that the pools and playgrounds do not open. And Nikki, that's an attachment for the, what is that, Nikki, that you
I
just
think
put?
I think it's going to take you to the link with the map that Greg was trying to show, and what the phases mean at this time. It's 24 counties on May 8th. 24 counties will go to the yellow phase from red phase. So
And
that's
67 staying as red. Is that about right?
correct. It's basically, I think it's 2 of the health regions, the Northwest and the North Central. So from Sullivan and Bradford, I think that's like coming right below there. If not, it's, I can't think of it. And then over, like Greg mentioned, I think it goes down to like Center County. I think we're in there, and like that,
Yeah.
just that small patch.
It's like an L sitting on its back,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, no matter what phase we are in, there's still social distancing requirements and wearing a mask. We need to be creative when planning our camp options. Yeah, you know, between pools and camps, I don't think this COVID-19 could have come at a worse time, because of all the uncertainty that, you know, are we far enough away from the beginning of it that we can open, or is it too close? And, you know, it seems like camps and pools are sort of right on that cusp area where, you know, you may not, but you don't, and you're continually looking for guidance that's just not there, because I don't know, well, I don't know why exactly, but I imagine a lot of people are in the same boat. You have these models, but this is all new territory for a lot of people, so it's hard to make predictions.
The only thing that I can say we're not going to have for sure, we have a humongous girls basketball league for high school teams in the summer. It goes all the way from Stroudsburg teams that come here up to the New York border, out to Williamsport, down past Bloomsburg. Huge area that they come. I can't have girls basketball, so we will not have a league this summer.
Yeah, Greg, I think once you start crossing county and state lines, or, you know, region and state lines, I think it's a no-go.
Right.
You know, I don't see how that could be possible. You know, to do things within your own municipality is one thing. But boy, once you're involving travel and things like that, I just don't see how that, at least for the summer, how that
Right.
could work.
Yeah, our school district athletic director said everything for them has been put on hold till August 1st. And so we're kind of following their lead of youth athletics, which means a lot of our summer sport programs.
I was reviewing the interim guidance for childcare programs the other night. And as far as social distancing and face masks, I was a little surprised to learn that they're really only requiring the employees to have face masks, not the children. So that was a little surprising for me. But that's their recommendation. So the social distancing was more about keeping groups of kids with the same counselor and not intermixing groups or counselors, and having separation between those groups. I guess they recognize that kids are kids, and you're just really not going to start, you know, you can't stop all social distancing. But so those were 2 of the things I gleaned out of those, the interim guidance. Oh, and gloves, lots of gloves, I would say, it's got to be on your list. Which brings me to a question. With your park systems, how are you How are your parks doing? Like, how do you maintain social distance in the parks? What are you doing with restrooms? What are you doing with trash collection? How is that all working out for you guys? Do you have systems that you can share, or how you take care of those things?
Our Department of Public Works empties our trash. We will not be opening our restrooms this year in the parks.
You will not.
No. We also will not be renting pavilions this year for parties or any kind of gatherings. We took down our basketball rims, and we are contemplating taking down our swings. And I have 11 parks in town.
Mhm. So they're getting used despite.
People are still going, even though we have a thing that says you cannot be there. Our police department is still removing people on a daily basis from the parks.
Does anybody else want to speak about their park system and what they're doing?
We have a field that's chained and fenced, and people jumped the fence playing, and even spectators went in. And when the police went in, they acted like they didn't know the park was closed. They spoke a different language, so now we have signs in 3 different languages saying our facilities are closed. You know, we still have some gathering, but the police are taking their breaks in the parks. You know, I mean, they've been in there quite a bit. We have golfers. Now, thankfully, the golf courses are open today, but we have golfers golfing into the fields. You know, again, there's postage saying, you know, signs posted saying no golfing. So yeah, people are just ignorant, disrespectful.
From the
I
chat.
actually had groups showing up to play soccer, of all things. And I had to go take the soccer goals, put them face to face, and chain them together. So they can't use them.
So Allentown says no youth basketball leagues or adult volleyball leagues this summer. We're going to open our restrooms when I guess Bucks County does. Restrooms, Jeff says restrooms are still closed. We added social distancing signs in both parks and trails. Allentown, all outside restrooms are closed. Trash is being picked up daily in the parks with everyone walking. So that's interesting. I read an article from a Connecticut newspaper. I think it's Meridian, Connecticut, or I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but they're using drones to monitor parks, and the police will come in once the drone spots a crowd, you know, once they spot a crowd through the drone camera or something, and then the police will come in and disperse them. So there's technology for you. So, okay. I'm noticing it's about 10 to 2, and I think I was just wondering, I was going to open it up to all you guys again to see if there's any other questions or issues that you want to touch base on before our 2 o'clock hour comes up. And I want to make sure that I give everybody ample opportunity to, that website is pa.gov, I believe. I'm not sure which one the governor's website is, but I want to make sure that we all have an opportunity to catch that if when it comes on.
It's governorpa.gov.
Governorpa.gov. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So any other question? Oh, somebody asked about tennis. That's a great question. How are you guys doing tennis, or are you doing tennis?
We haven't touched that. I'm watching people play right now in my office. We have cameras in our parks, and they're live streamed into my office and into our police station. But we haven't touched the tennis because we figured social distancing, as long as they're not playing doubles or anything, we have singles only up assigned, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. And John says social distancing and voluntary mask signage is at all entryways as a reminder, but it's not always being followed. Anyone else with tennis? I would think that would be one thing you might be able to get. That and pickleball might be one thing you can get away with, so to say, besides golf. Any other programs people are trying to plan for the summer? Movies in the park? Might be a good time to bring back drive-ins, I think, right?
It's funny you say that because on our local news, 2 drive-ins open this weekend.
Did they really? Well,
Yeah, this coming weekend they're opening. One up in Scranton and one down by Shinny. They're not opening their snack stands and they're not opening their restrooms, they said. They have porta potties.
well, that's a way forward, I guess, right? Okay, any other comments, concerns, questions? All right. Well, go ahead, Heather. I hear you.
Oh.
See.
Just if anyone has any feedback, I think right now I've been on a couple calls with the mayor and some city council members, just trying to remind them that even though we can't run programming right now, we are a really important service to our community and to the city particularly. So just if anyone ever has any recommendations, you can send it to me directly if you'd like. But on just reminding our elected officials, we know, I was just on a call before this about the expectation for revenue loss for the city, both through earned income tax and property taxes. So it's a little scary because they're projecting a 42% loss in potential revenue over the next 2 years. That's massive. And I'm getting nervous that agencies like ours might get on the chopping block. So I'm trying to do the best I can to advocate and remind our elected officials of how important we are. But it's hard to do that when you can't do anything and run programs to show them. So if anyone has any recommendations for that, I'm always open.
On that topic, Heather, there is a PRPS survey and it has been in the scoop. I believe there's a link on our website, but it's basically asking people to share their story, and it's allowing PRPS to gather some details about programs that may not be happening and services that we haven't been able to offer. And that collective data will allow us to cultivate that important information that elected officials need to know and help them acknowledge that importance. So we will definitely let people know exactly those points that you're looking for. So if you have time, go to the website, fill out that survey and let us know so we can help you share those stories, because as we all know, Parks and Recreation is typically first on the chopping block, but even now it's gonna be even worse. So please take a few minutes to fill that out.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Nikki. I'll take a look at that.
And just right off the bat, one of the things you can refer to is the increase of people using the parks during this time. There's just a lot more hiking, a lot more biking, walking. I think people are rediscovering the parks, and they'll be sorely missed if they do get chopped. So, yeah, it's going to be a very tricky situation. Okay, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for your participation in this Urban Roundtable. As I mentioned earlier, we'll get this chat box out to everyone as soon as we can. We've been processing several webinars and roundtables this week, so we're a little bit behind, but should get it out to you by Monday or so. And we'll make this webinar, this roundtable available online also if you want to recheck it. Please help Heather and everyone else out with some talking points for the importance of Parks and Rec, and hope for the best. We get some more guidance coming up very soon from NRPA and the governor's office. So thank you all for participating, and we'll see you next week.